Greetings, my brothers and sisters at Church of the Resurrection. Especially blessings to you on this week of Thanksgiving. We no doubt many of you are busily making preparations to have time with your family and friends over the great theme of gratitude, thanksgiving for the blessings that God has given us, the historic holiday where we do that here in the United States. Part of that idea we've tried to capitalize on here at Church of the Resurrection, as this week we also begin our stewardship journey as we do every year at this time. This year our theme is simple. It's called Journey to Generosity. For the next 5 weeks, I'm asking you as a parish community to journey with me and the clergy and the vestry and the staff together under the banner of 10 themes from the scriptures that we will pray together and study together as part of how to discover the journey to generosity. These 10 texts are from the Gospel of John and Matthew, and they lend themselves to prayer and reflection. So each week, what we're going to try to do on Sunday night or Monday morning is send one text to you with a biblical reflection from one of our parish leaders, and then on Thursday, the second text, with the hope that you'll consider reading these 10 texts, study them, pray over them, consider a teaching about them, because we'll send out some bulletin inserts and some PowerPoint through email to you so you can spend time with God's Word asking, what is God asking of me through these texts in a journey to generosity? Our hope is really 3 things. One is that you'll commit to a deeper role of personal prayer through these texts. Think about it. At our baptism, we commit to pray the prayers of the church and study the sacred scriptures. So all we're asking you to do in these next 5 weeks is to take that journey seriously that you promised at Holy Baptism. Secondly, we're hoping that it deepens a communal prayer, that you take time to pray maybe with just one other person. Perhaps it's your spouse, perhaps it's one of your close friends, perhaps it's somebody you're in Bible study together with, to share this text and ask them to pray with you, to say, what is God asking of me in the spirit of generosity in this season? And then thirdly, we hope that across the parish that it deepens a commitment to corporate prayer, namely praying with us in the liturgy on Sundays, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays when we gather here at the parish church to deepen our prayer life as a community of people, whereby we offer worship to God, but also deepen and try to cultivate a spiritual life that is rooted in a prayer of the people for the people. And so we hope that these 10 texts that we're going to send out to you twice a week will inspire you to undertake a deeper prayer life. These 10 texts will be sent out on Sundays and Thursdays. So today's text, for example, from yesterday and through this Thursday, is based on Matthew chapter 9, verses 35 through chapter 10, verses 23. So all the way from Matthew 9:35 through chapter 10, all the way up to verse 23. It sounds like a lot, but it's not. It's actually a biblical passage that most of us are very, very familiar with. And so rather than read it to you, which I could, I'm going to ask you to read it. But I want to spend a moment with you focusing in on one particular aspect of this verse, actually of these chapters in one verse. Namely, if you take a look at chapters 9 in Matthew's Gospel, verses 37 and 38. Here we see that Jesus is calling the disciples to deeper mission. And that's what this journey to generosity is about. It's calling this parish community to deeper mission. Before Jesus gets to the enormity of the missionary activity that they're about to undertake, the first thing he does is to ask the disciples to pray. And that's why we're undertaking this first task today, this week, with you. Say, will you take time to to pray about these things. Not just say, oh yeah, I'll mention it when I have a moment, but really take time to meditate before God about these words. Because what does Jesus say to the disciples in that section of the 9th chapter of Matthew's Gospel? He says, the harvest is rich, but the laborers are few. The harvest is rich, but those who are willing to be generous with their time, those who are willing to be generous with their talent, those who are willing to be generous with their treasure, Jesus is saying, sadly, are few. Now, this is really shocking when you think about it. The God of all hopefulness, the God of all joy, the God who created us in love with generosity, is saying that that generosity is not reciprocal to him in service of the kingdom. Wow. I don't know about you, but that's a surprise to me. So he asks that the Lord of the harvest be able to send out laborers for his harvest. Now, we're not asking you to go out to the highways and byways, to stand on the corner of Dale Mabry and Kenny Boulevard and evangelize. Although, if that is what you're gifted to do, you should do it. But we are asking you to first and foremost take the time to pray, what is God asking of me? As I mark my 61st birthday tomorrow, I'm a little overwhelmed by that number. Where did the time go? But more importantly, as I've said to you in many sermons recently, I'm very concerned about the number because it helps me get very clear, very fast, that I in fact have less days on this planet than I do more. And what have I done for the Lord in that time? I may have done things for my family that have been helpful. I may have done things from friends, but what have I done for the work of the kingdom? You'd think, well, as a priest, shouldn't you be able to come to a clear answer on that? Not what have I done as a priest, what have I done as Kevin Donlin for the work of the kingdom? And Jesus is asking that of everyone in this gospel passage that we're sending out this week. See, if one believes in the importance of the mission that God's given us, one also believes in the awesome responsibility that each one of us have to carry it out. Everything cannot be done by one person, by one priest. We're not asking you to do everything, but we're asking you to consider in a spirit of generosity, what is the Lord asking of you to help in the work of his mission to bring about the kingdom? As some of you know, I was in Haiti this past weekend in Port-au-Prince to help see the beginning of a new work in Haiti with our friend and brother, Father Pierre. Father Pierre was absolutely ecstatic this week as he had the opportunity to return to ministry as a priest of Christ, one holy Catholic Apostolic Church. He could barely contain himself. I was so pleased for him, as I'm sure all of you are as well. But more importantly, what I noted about the people in Port-au-Prince is that they came from all over, north and south, east and west, in a very difficult place to get around, as you know, because of the hurricanes that have crippled the Caribbean. And yet they came. They came to commit to personal prayer. They came to commit to communal prayer. And they came to commit to a new journey for a new work in a parish called Holy Family Parish in Port-au-Prince. I was impressed by the generosity of time and talent and even treasure that these people undertook in a relatively short period of time so they could witness to their friends and families in Haiti that the God of Jesus, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of John the Baptizer, and the God of all of us is alive and calling people to do amazing things. He's calling ordinary people to do extraordinary things. I said I wouldn't talk more than 10 minutes in this video because I think most of you might stop. So anyway, what we're hoping you'll do is read the passages that we send out to you this week. Take the Bible study to heart. Consider this message that the laborers are few, but the harvest is rich. And perhaps you can discern with us in these next 5 weeks what God is asking of you. God bless. Have a happy Thanksgiving, and we'll talk to you soon.